Welcome back, everyone, to Stadiacast, your source for all the Stadia news that you need to know. I'm Bill. That's Lloyd. Lloyd, how was your Christmas, man?
It was fantastic. A lot of time spent with family, friends, eating, snacking, with some drinking in the middle there. I ate way too much, and I'm about to go on a month-long diet, I think, because I ate enough food in the last week to last me through all of January.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I always struggle with my intake. I always eat way too much. And of course, like my wife made these gingerbread cookies, which were soft and amazing. And every time I walked through the kitchen, I had to stop and grab one and stop and grab two and stop and grab seven. So it was not good for my waistline, but that's okay because I'm starting. It's Sunday. I'm gonna put my weight in on on the Lose It app that I have on my phone that helps me keep track of my weight because I've always struggled with my weight. But
Right.
This is not the weight loss podcast. This is Stadiacast. And before we get started, we do record this show live every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you join us over at youtube.com/Stadiacast, you're going to have a whole bunch of awesome people to chat with. Like right now, there's a bunch of people here, and I really want to say thank you to those people who show up. And if you're looking for ways to support the show, that's super easy to do. If you want to directly support the show and you're here with us live, you can use the super chat feature to make sure that we see what you say. We end up with lots and lots. Usually by the end of an episode, we'll have hundreds of people in chat, and the chat gets really hard for us to read. But if you use the super chat feature, it pops out and shows it to us and makes it so that we can make sure that we respond to every single super chat. And if you're watching us here on YouTube after the fact, you can also click on the join button right down below and become a member. And do that. It really does help. All right, Lloyd.
Can I before we get into Stadia stuff, can I show you one of the coolest Christmas presents that I got in like years from my daughter? So my kids, they know I love gaming. I mean, you walk in this room, you know I love gaming. They know I love retro gaming. They've been retro gaming with me since they were 4 or 5, playing NES and Super Nintendo. So I've seen one of these before. I really wanted it. Couldn't find one that either was here local or one that didn't have crazy shipping. But she found this for me, and it's this thing here. It's a Mario 1-Up question mark block, just kind of like the one I have right above my head, except that one's made of cardboard. This one is plastic, and if you hit it, it turns on. It's a lamp, and it makes the sound. I'll point it towards my microphone.
No, we heard it. It sounded great.
Isn't that cool? So I'm going to have like some swag back here that actually lights up now. I don't know what I'm going to do with the cardboard one, but this is like the coolest little thing. My kids get me, and I got like Zelda themed stuff and all this other like Nintendo themed things. I love things like this, stuff you don't ask for, and they just find it and they know that it's perfect for you and they pick it up. So just a really cool thing that I really love, and I wanted to show it off because my kids are awesome.
Yeah. You know what? I got to say, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I absolutely should. If you look on mine, right over here, you can just barely see this Pac-Man light up thing that's on my on my shelf behind me.
That's cool.
That was very cool. I was happy to unwrap that, and then I also got a question block, just like you, except mine doesn't light up. Mine is a Magic 8 Ball, and if you're old like me, then you know what a Magic 8 Ball is, and you ask it a question, and then you flip it over, and you get an answer. So, I might ask a question like, is Stadia Base going to come out in February? And I flip it over, and it says, God, give it up already. So I guess it's not going to be coming in February. We don't know when it's going to happen, but I thought that was really cool. And whenever I'm streaming on Twitch, you know how on Twitch you can do those the channel points that some channels have. Well, I made mine shiny things, and you can spend 100 shiny things, which it's not actually costing people anything. You spend 100 shiny things, you get to ask a question of the 8 Ball, or of the question block, I guess is better a better thing. But anyway, yeah, I had a great Christmas and I ate a bunch of stuff, and you had a great Christmas, and that's awesome. And I hope that everybody who's watching or listening also had a great Christmas. But let's talk about what we've been playing. That's what we usually start the show with now that it's out. Lloyd, why don't you start us off? What have you been playing, man?
Well, this time of the year is usually when I try to put my game of the year lists together. So I look at all the games that came out that I've started or finished or whatever, and I realized that there was a couple games that I wanted to play. They're not on Stadia. I'll touch on them briefly. I played and rolled the credits on The Outer Worlds and Jedi Fallen Order to get those off my list. Both fantastic titles. If you have a chance to play them, they're both really great. But then after clearing those two off, it's like, okay, well, I have a less than a week before the end of the year to get some Stadia stuff in. So I immediately jumped into playing, obviously, a little bit more Destiny, but then playing Darksiders and Borderlands 3, of course, but mainly Darksiders. I want to finish Darksiders. I'm at chapter 10 now. I'm slowly making my way through it, fighting in the arena, getting all the power-ups and things like that. And I'm really, really enjoying it, except for the odd time where you dash and then you get hit and then you're stunned and you get hit again, then you get hit again, then you get knocked off a platform and you die. That gets really frustrating. And I'm pretty sure I woke up my house last night because I was playing really late and everybody was sleeping. And I got very angry at one boss battle because that kept happening over and over and over again. But man, I'm loving Darksiders. I know you said that you've played it, you've beat it, and you liked it, or you loved it. I was like, okay, it's not really clicking. I'm really enjoying it, but it's not really clicking. But through grinding it over the last day and a bit, it's rising up my ranks for the best games that I've played this year. It is a lot of fun. The customization, I wish there was a little bit more to it. But what they have there is really fun, and I love how when you make your way through the game, they keep giving you new abilities. Like it's like, okay, you don't feel powerful enough. Okay, here's this super transform. There you go. Have fun with that for a little bit. And it's like, okay, I'm feeling okay. I'm doing well. Okay, well, here's this other thing. When you swap in, you can do extra damage. That's fine. You can play with that for a little bit. And they just keep ramping up the enemies and then making you just a little bit more powerful than the enemies, but still squishy, because if you get hit a couple times, you are going to die. I'm absolutely loving Darksiders Genesis, and I'm really glad that that this is one of the games that I chose to pick up on Stadia.
As far as Darksiders, having a little distance from it because I did finish it, and that was about a week ago that I finished that game. Actually, I think it was exactly a week ago that I finished that game. I finished it the day before we recorded the last episode. That game does not do well in short bursts. Like, that game really seems to, in my opinion, I feel like that game really shines when you have a couple of hours to sit down and really dig into it. If you play it in short bursts, I just feel like you don't. There's like a graph of how close you are to the groove of playing a game. And that one, you really have got to get, like, it's a really, really slow, gradual climb. And it doesn't suck me in when I first start playing. But if I've been playing it for like an hour or an hour and a half or something like that, then it's really hard to put down at that point. And very, very good game. Again, my biggest complaint about that game would be the map. The map is atrocious and a huge pain. But overall, I think that game is really, really good and should not be missed if you like a brawler. And this is coming from somebody who doesn't even really like brawlers all that much.
Yeah, I agree fully. The whole spending a bunch of time with it makes the game better. I can't agree more with you on that, because I was playing it, doing like one thing at a time, doing one mission at a time, doing part of a mission, leveling up, harvesting souls to upgrade a little bit, but then just only playing in like half-hour bursts. But it wasn't until I started really trying to finish this game, where I'm putting like 2, 3, 4 hours in a play session, and it's like, okay, I get it now, because they throw so many mechanics at you. It's like, okay, you're holding this button to do a thing, but then you also hold this button and something else to do a thing. and then I forgot about it. It's like, oh yeah, I can change my gun ammo types. I can do this, I can do that. Oh yeah, there's a dash. There's all these other things that they've thrown at you early in the game, but I totally forget about it. But when you're playing it for a long session, you inadvertently hit it. Like I hit the assistant and the screenshot button all the time, but I hit all the other buttons that actually do something cool. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. I can do this. I can chain from changing from war. And then I can switch over and bring my other guy in with a burst of bullets, and then I can do this other thing. It really, it's one of those games that you really need to sit and dig into. And then when I unlocked the arena, I didn't understand how it worked. It's like I did 2 arenas. How come I don't have double the points? So I know that's going to be a heavy grind as I make my way through to unlock some of the cool stuff that is going to give you as you make your way through it. It is just so much fun. The one thing I will say though is, I don't know if you found this, Bill. When I play the arena, it is really bugged. Like my guy won't shoot. Some of the buttons don't work. I can't pick up orbs. Some of the enemies just don't show health bars. They just accept my bullets, and then eventually they explode into things. I'm noticing that I'm getting weird bugs, but just in the arena. So I don't know if you experienced that as you're making your way through arena at all.
I didn't. I didn't notice that at all. But I'm also not super observant when it comes to playing a fast-paced action game like that. Like I'll be playing and I'm just like, I'm gonna hit this many this kind of game is not my jam. Like I am not into what I like to call button mashers, where you tap X 3 times in order to do a specific combo, and then you want to make sure that you time it right and hit Y, and you got the block button and stuff. So like that kind of game, it just for me doesn't land, and so whenever I'm playing, I feel overwhelmed because I don't usually play those games. So that's probably why I hit it, and I never noticed those bugs. Do you think that the game would benefit from having more levels, but having all of the levels be shorter? Because I felt like some of the levels were really, really long. And that's one of the reasons that I like, it took me so long to finish it. Not like the number of hours that I played, but it took me so long to finish it because I would load it up and I'd be like, I know that I'm not going to finish this level at this sitting down right now. Maybe I should just wait and I'll go play something else in the meantime.
Yeah, it makes it kind of hard to predict what a level is, because some of the early levels take 10 minutes to beat, and then there's the one level, I don't know which number it is, but you're basically going through the sewer system, turning off all the valves for like the poison water. That took me like an hour to get through, and I'm like, okay, how is this a level, but the other one was 10 minutes, and that's also a level. And then you have a level that is just a boss battle,
right?
So yeah, it would be nice if it was split up a little bit more, and maybe without all the backtracking to the hub every time. Maybe just have some of the levels are connected, so you go through 2 or 3 of them in a row if you want before it takes you back to the hub. That would be a really great way to kind of break that game up a little bit more.
I agree. Anything else you've been playing?
Not really. Just a little bit of Borderlands 3. I really wish Borderlands 3 was crossplay, because my son got it on his PlayStation 4, and I'd love to play with him. We were playing split screen co-op on the PS4. And oh my God, everything is just so small on split screen. I'm like, I want to do split screen, but not split screen, 2 screen. And I want to do it when I'm sitting here in my comfy chair and you're sitting over there on the couch doing it in the basement. So I don't know, maybe down the road, that'll be something that will come. But I think Borderlands 3 is going to be the next one I'm going to dig into after I roll the credits on Darksiders.
Well, I've been playing a lot of Borderlands 3. That game, like, I got a Pokemon sword for Christmas, and
right.
I've done the intro, and that's it, because all of my gaming time has been spent playing Borderlands 3. That game is fantastic. I am fully pulled in on this. I'm having so much fun. I'm playing as the operative, which he has. So I'll explain what the game is like for those of you who have not played Borderlands game before. It is like Diablo with guns, in the fact that you shoot dudes and they explode in a fountain of loot. Loot just pours out of everything. Every green thing that you see, you go up, you hit a button, it opens up, and guns pop out. Lots and lots of guns. Thousands of guns. There's actually, I think I read someplace that there's over 1 million guns in this game, which is really crazy. And you just never see the same gun twice. I keep getting these guns and I try them out and I'm like, that is so cool. I have a gun. Like last night I was playing and my wife came in and she sat down with me and I was playing, and rather than reload the gun, my character just throws the gun grows legs, and then it jumps after somebody and explodes. Like, that is the kind of ridiculousness that happens in Borderlands 3. The voice acting is great. The story is hilarious. The writing is awesome. And I have to say that my son also got it. He has it on Stadia, and I have it on Stadia. We have not played co-op yet, but I'm having an absolute blast with it. Now, I do have some criticisms of the game. My first criticism of the game is unskippable cutscenes are one of the worst things that you can ever do as a developer ever. And what's even worse is when you start this game, they've got this really cool cutscene, and it is cool, right? Mm-hmm. And then you get to pick your character, and there's 4 characters. There's a character who is a gunner. Basically, she summons a giant mech and can hang out inside the mech for extended periods of time. There's a character who is like a magician kind of thing. She's called a siren. She's really cool as well. There's a character who is like this giant robot guy, and he summons animals to come help him fight. And then there's the character who's the operative, who can clone himself and have like a shield down and have like a turret that follows him around, like depending on how you spec it the character. That's the one I'm playing, by the way. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to try all of the characters, which meant I had to sit through this very, very, very long cutscene, unskippable cutscene 4 times before I found the character that I really liked. And that was incredibly frustrating for me. That being said, now that I'm into the game and I am going through and playing, it is absolutely bananas. It's really, really fun. I did a quest yesterday where I had to, you know what? I'm not even going to tell you. I've had an absolute blast. The boss fights are amazing, and I can't wait to play more of this game. In fact, Lloyd, find a new co-host because I'm doing a Borderlands 3 podcast. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. I'm not. Anyway.
Okay. Oh, okay. I was mid-tweet sending it out, but you stopped me before I could hit send. Thank you. Woof.
All right. So Stephanie Robidas says it's actually 2 trillion guns. Oh, there you go. It's 2 trillion guns.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I jumped in. I started playing the mech girl, and I find that I don't use the mech as often as I should, so I die and stuff like that. My son's playing a siren, and I chose the Beastmaster guy when we were playing split screen. So I've seen 3 of the 4 character types. But yeah, I also agree that the have to sit through a cutscene in this day and age, like forcing users to sit through a cutscene is just, it's insane. Give them like 3 prompts that they have to hit a button, hit A button, and then B button, and then X button to skip it or something, if you don't want people to accidentally skip it.
Like in Smash Brothers, when you want to go back a screen in the middle of a fight, you had to hit like 12 buttons at the same time.
Totally. Like, make it so it's not something you can accidentally do if you want people to not accidentally get rid of it, but don't force them on each playthrough to sit through the same cutscene. Like that doesn't make any sense at all. As cool as it is very cool, but once, not multiple times.
Exactly. I have had somebody who, like a name that I recognize either from Discord or the live chats. I have had some of those people show up in my game. Like, I can't remember who it was, but I was going through, I was playing as the Beastmaster guy, because I was still figuring out what I wanted to do. And like somebody walked by and I was like, whoa, this is multiplayer. Because I didn't realize that it was multiplayer at the time. And like they walked by and I was like, oh, I know that person. And we went through and we did a couple of quests together. We never said anything because I didn't have like my because I always play on a Chromecast. I always play on a Chromecast, and I never have my headset plugged into my controller because I'm just not interested. But we didn't really talk to each other. There is a ping system in the game, so you can ping things. I think it's up on the D-pad or something. You can look at something and ping it, and that will let them know, hey, there's this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that game is really good, and I can't wait to play more of it. It's really, really good. I've been having a blast with Borderlands 3. And now I've had people ask me, which one do you like better, Borderlands 3 or Destiny 2? And yes, they both have guns, but that is where the similarities end. Like, they are completely wildly different games, and they should not be compared in the same category at all. Destiny 2 is an MMO, where Borderlands 3 is... It's like trying to compare World of Warcraft to Diablo. It just doesn't work. It's not they're not in the same category. So I don't make that distinction. We also got we usually save crowd play for the end, but somebody asked a question directly related to Borderlands 3. Alexander Who's put this on because I did a live stream yesterday, and I saw that they asked this. Like, there was the last thing that anybody said before I had shut the stream off, and I didn't notice it because I just didn't notice it. And so then they ended up asking it again as a comment to the video, and we do read all of the comments. We don't respond to every single comment because we can't, but we read every comment. And they said, I'm trying to decide if I should get Borderlands 3 for Stadia, as I'm loving Stadia, but I have the Super Deluxe version on PS4 already. Any reason I should buy this all over again on Stadia? For me, I don't see the reason that you would do that unless it's very important to you that you can play it on every screen in your house and you have multiple Chromecasts. But Lloyd, can you think of a reason?
No, I'm at first when Stadia was before the Stadia was released and it was the run up to Stadia, I'm thinking about all these games that I'm playing, and it's like, oh yeah, I should double dip and get it on Stadia. I should double dip and get it on Stadia. And the more that I use Stadia, the more that I realize how limited it is right now. Next year, 2020, it's going to be available on iOS, which is my platform of choice. It's going to be available on hopefully multiple set-top boxes. So your Apple TV and other things will be able to play Stadia games. That will make double dipping maybe a little bit more attractive to me. But right now, playing it on just my computer or my Chromecast in my office isn't enough of a carrot because I have everything here in my same office, and I don't really need to play every game on my laptop, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So hopefully in 2020, once we get more support, that'll be a thing that'll make me have to think twice about either just buying it just on Stadia or rebuying some old games that I have on, say, Switch or PlayStation or Xbox on the Stadia to have them wherever I am.
I personally am unlikely to rebuy most games on Stadia because I already have played those, and we all know that I'm not going to go back to them. That being said, there are some exceptions. One exception, Elder Scrolls Online, when that comes to Stadia, absolutely going to buy that one again. I've already bought it 3 damn times anyway, so what's one more, you know? But I'm going to buy that game again, and I'm going to be very happy to uninstall it from my PS4 and my PC because, good God, that thing has such a huge footprint on your hard drive that it's just, like, it's over, I think it's 140 gigs or something like that now. Right. It's insane how huge that game is. So, for me, that's one that I'll rebuy. I will say this, as somebody who has a Chromecast Ultra on every TV in the house, I've got one here in the Nerd Nest on my streaming setup. I've got one in the TV over across the hall, and I have one on the big screen in the living room. Having a Chromecast Ultra on every TV and being able to walk into any room, grab my Stadia controller, hit the button, and type in the little code, and then start playing on that TV is fantastic. That's is cool. One of the best selling points of Stadia, and I swear Google needs to do an ad like that, where it just shows this guy playing the same game, like maybe he's playing Destiny 2, and he walks into this room and plays it, and then in the next day it shows him playing it on another screen, and the next day it shows him playing it on another screen, and then say, play whatever you want wherever you are, and then just move on. Like, that's a really good ad. And stop talking about the resolution, stop talking about the what's the word, the frame rates and stuff like that. Just show that convenience off. I think that would be a really good move on their part. Play whatever you want wherever you are.
Yeah, see, that's the good thing about having a Chromecast on every TV. I'm the same way, but with Apple TVs. I have an Apple ecosystem. I have a huge iTunes library with all my music, with all my DVDs that I've ripped and put on my. I have a big NAS that has all the video files there. So whenever I want to watch whatever movie, it's like 3 clicks away. I can watch that movie. Be able to have Stadia app on there and then be able to activate it with the Apple TV voice controller or whatever, or just by using my Stadia controller, that would be fantastic. I don't know if that is ever going to happen, if it's going to be that convenient to use an Apple device to play Stadia in the future, but I'm hoping, because that would be fantastic for me, because I would be just like you. I could walk into any room and I could just fire up my Stadia that way without having to rebuy a Chromecast for every TV and figure out which device that uses HDMI I'm going to unplug, because all my TVs seem to only have 2 HDMI connections, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. You said the voice thing. That still doesn't work. I've never been able to just, like, I saw somebody say it on the subreddit or something where they walked into the room and they talked to their Google Home and they say, hey, keyword, play Destiny 2 on Stadia or whatever, and it just shows up on the screen. I haven't been able to figure that out. Now,
oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it has something to do with I'm not getting the syntax right. It just says, I'm sorry, I don't know how to do that yet. And I'm like, all right, well, you suck. Thanks for nothing.
Yeah, see, I have a home behind me, a little Google Home, and I just say, okay, keyword, start Destiny 2 on basement TV, and within like 10 seconds, it's up and running on the TV.
Okay, so start Destiny 2 on whatever okay, I'm gonna try that after the show.
Whatever you've called the Chromecast, yeah, whatever you name that particular Chromecast. So play blah or start blah on that Chromecast, and it's worked every time for me.
Every time that I've tried saying play a game, it usually will bring up a YouTube video of, like, it'll do a YouTube search, and I'm like, that's not what I wanted. I wanted Stadia. So I'll try start and see if that works. I'll try it after the show.
Awesome.
All right. We talked about what we've been playing. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about the news, and then crowd play is after that. Stick around, everybody.
Let the Radio Shack TRS-80 put the world of color computing into your home.
All right, we are back, and there's not a lot of news today. I mean, that's not a huge surprise to anyone, I don't think. The fact that it's Christmas week, that we got any news at all is surprising to me. So I already did a video about this, but we obviously want to hear Lloyd's thoughts on it, and I didn't get all of the information out in the video. So the information that we got was posted on Thursday. It was posted on Thursday, and it says, nothing like 2 more free games on Stadia Pro to help bring in the new year. New games on Stadia Pro. Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration comes to Stadia Pro on January 1st. Lara Croft's second modern-day adventure is even deeper and more thrilling as her first, as she races against insidious forces on a quest to uncover the secrets of everlasting life. Also headed to Stadia Pro is Thumper, the rhythm game of beautiful destruction. Guide your space beetle at terrifying speeds across gorgeous, threatening vistas as you shake and break your way through enemies while racing the ever-present beat. Both Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration and Thumper will be ready to claim on Stadia Pro on January 1st. Lloyd, what do you think about these 2 games coming to Stadia Pro?
All fantastic, but both games are absolutely fantastic. So we got a Tomb Raider Definitive Edition already. Now we got Rise of the Tomb Raider. I picked the 3rd Tomb Raider game at a crazy discount, so now I have all 3, or in January I'll have all 3 Tomb Raider games ready to play on Stadia, which is fantastic. Apparently Rise of the Tomb Raider looks absolutely beautiful on Stadia, so I can't wait to jump into that one, because I played that one, I want to say on PlayStation 4. I think that's where I played that one, so it'll be interesting to compare the two. We kind of know Tomb Raider. It's kind of a known element right now. Thumper is an unknown game to a lot of people out there. I've played Thumper on my Switch, but the best experience I had with Thumper was playing on PlayStation VR. People describe this game as rhythm violence, and that's essentially what it is. You're this little beetle going down a track, and you have to hit things to the beat of the music. So you have to like destroy enemies, or slam yourself into the corner to grind around the edge if you're going on a corner. It's one of those games where you turn all the lights off, you crank up the sound, and you just escape into this game. It is fantastic, and it'll be really cool to see people experience this for the first time on Google Stadia. VR really is the way to play it. So if you have the option to play it after playing it on Stadia, and you really like it, and you have a VR headset kicking around that has Thumper as part of it, you really want to play it that way, because there's nothing that can compete with just the total immersion that you get in VR playing this game. But being able to play it on Stadia will be great, because it's a fast moving game with some really amazing visuals. It'll be interesting to see how the streaming codecs will encode all those frames as they're being sent to you. It should be really interesting to see.
It's a game that launched with Stadia, so I've heard people talking about that that they have bought it, and that they are huge fans of how well it plays on Stadia. I think a lot of people were expecting, oh, it's a rhythm game, so that means it's going to run into those latency issues. Mm-hmm. You know, I've been playing Stadia a lot, and I have to say, I have run into absolutely 100% zero latency issues as long as I am using the controller and a Chromecast. Now, I know that you don't play with a controller and a Chromecast very often. You usually use the browser. So have you run into latency issues at all?
I get every once in a while, you get your screen turns a little bit blocky. You get a little of the lossiness coming out, and then the controls are a little less responsive. I was having an issue playing Darksiders last night where my game crashed on my Chromecast. It came up with a little error message saying this game closed, restart it if you want to continue where you left off, something along those lines. I restarted it on my Chromecast, and it brought me back to the start of the game, and I'm like, okay, something's wrong here. So I quit it, opened it up in a web browser, and I was able to play in it, and it was where I left off in the game when my controller disconnected. So that was really great. But I was getting a lot of control issues where I would be holding down the right trigger to fire, and then I'd let go of the right trigger, and I would still fire for like 3, 4, 5 seconds after, before it realized, oh, he's not pressing that button anymore. So yeah, playing in the browser can have some definite issues. Chromecast really is the best way to get Stadia on your screen right now. Just has the fewest issues with any latency or weird streaming buffering issues.
I will say this. I was specifically talking about just latency. So I did run into an issue yesterday where I was playing, and the whole game froze for a second and then jumped ahead. Do you think that these little, like, because everybody looks at everything on Stadia with such a magnifying lens.
Sure.
Do you feel like these little hiccups are a big deal, or do you feel like people who make a big deal about them are making a mountain out of a molehill?
I do think the people that are complaining a lot about it are the people that would complain about almost anything. Just they're the people that put up the YouTube videos with thumbnails that are like, and that's what they do. I get the odd blip every once in a while, and I don't really complain about it. To me, it's not a huge issue. Where it will become a huge issue is once we get more people in the Stadia ecosystem, like Stadia Free or Stadia Base comes out, and you get thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people that are going to start to cause latency issues because of just bandwidth. And then if that becomes an issue where it's happening all the time for everybody, whether you use a Chromecast or not, then that will start to be a bit of an issue. For me right now, I don't know. I don't have enough energy to complain and play games, so I'm just going to choose to play games and have fun while doing that.
There you go. Speaking of energy, make sure you use some of that energy to claim Tomb Raider Definitive Edition before December 31st, because that's in 2 days, everybody, and you're no longer going to be able to get the first Tomb Raider game after December 31st for quote-unquote free. I don't like saying free. We were having this discussion in the Discord, and somebody said, why don't we just use the word included? And I like that better, so I'm going to try to use that as the nomenclature. But like we received Destiny 2, the collection, Farming Simulator 19 Platinum Edition, Samurai Showdown, and Tomb Raider Definitive Edition as our included games. And Tomb Raider Definitive Edition will no longer be one of the included games if you don't claim it before December 31st. It seems kind of weird. You would think that we would have lost access to claiming Samurai Showdown before Tomb Raider. You know what I mean, Lloyd?
Yeah. So it must be something to do with the deal that they have, where it's like, okay, you can include one game, but if you put another one in your collection, you have to take one out. There might be some sort of financial / contractual thing that is causing them to take it out. But yeah, it is really kind of weird that Samurai Showdown's been there forever, but Tomb Raider was put in quickly and then taken out just as quick. So I'm just going to see how this plays out. They said that it's not going to be a regular thing, that we're going to get regular games added. But just like they say, we're going to do one communication a week and then they have 7. Maybe things are a little bit more fluid. So maybe we are going to get 2 games a month. That would be amazing. I just don't see how that is going to hold out for when it gets into like more general public. I think this is like a little bit of a reward for us as founders. The only people that are really playing are founders and the people that have used a founders buddy pass. So they're going to give us all the games, and then hopefully we'll have nothing but good things to say when that program changes a little bit.
Well, I mean, I believe they said that we would get at least one game included each month, and they've been doing 2. But they said at least 1, 2. Like when I asked about that, I think John just said, well, we were just, covering our bases by saying at least 1. It was kind of like legalese, where they're just making sure that they don't overpromise. So they underpromise and overdeliver so far. And personally, I feel like, I mean, okay, I don't care about 4K nearly as much as everybody else does. Even though I just ordered a 4K capture card so that I could capture 4K and upload, like when I make our videos, I'm going to be able to capture them at 4K and upload it so people can see what I see, essentially. I don't care about 4K as much. For Stadia Pro, I know that that's the big selling point that they've been going with, is this is how you get 4K HDR. Do you think that even if they took that away, do you think that the deals that we've been getting have been enough to justify Stadia Pro? Are you going to keep subscribing?
I don't know if I'm going to keep subscribing. I'll probably be one of those people that dips in and out. The deals though, like saving like half off essentially for Borderlands, and or a little bit less. I think it was like 40% off for Borderlands, and then it was 50% off for Ghost Recon. That's fantastic. And if deals like that keep happening, then yeah, it's worth my $12.99 a month or whatever it is up here in Canada to keep going with Pro. If those deals stop being so good, I guess I probably will dip out of Pro, because I really don't need 4K, and I have enough games that I've purchased that I don't really need the freebies, unless there's a freebie that I really want, and then I'll dip in, get that freebie, play for a month, and then let it lapse again. So I think it's going to be, for me personally, it's going to be one of those things where I'm buying in and out just randomly, unless there is another feature that just keeps me locked, or they come out with one of the cards. You go to your local 7-Eleven or whatever, and you buy a year of Stadia Pro for $60. Then I'd jump all over that, and I wouldn't even think twice about it.
I hope you're listening, Google. If you want Lloyd to give you money, you got to give us that yearly subscription, because that's what the other people or the other platforms are doing, and it works really well. And I think that I believe that when I asked John about it the first time, and he said, "Well, is that something you want?" All coy. And then when I posted on Reddit that we were doing our second interview with John, and I said, "What do you guys want?" And I think the number one thing was achievements. That's what everybody was like, I want achievements. And I think the second one was, we want a yearly subscription instead of a monthly subscription. And I 100% agree. It's much easier for me to say $60 for a year as opposed to $10 a month. And yes, that is, of course, half the price, but you're also locking me in for a year. Whereas what's probably going to happen is people will dip out and then they'll say, oh, this game is on sale this month, so if I spend $10 to get this sale, then the sale isn't as good as it would be otherwise. But if I'm already subscribed, then it's worth it. I personally am probably going to stay subscribed just because I think the deals have been really good. The games that we're getting, I'm happy with. I'm very excited to. I haven't played. I haven't finished the original Tomb Raider. The 2013 Tomb Raider. So I'm probably not going to be playing very much Rise of the Tomb Raider. I'm sure I'll do a first look. But I probably won't be playing that very much until I finish that first one. But Thumper, I'm very excited for. This is a game that's been on my radar for a very long time, and I've just never gotten around to picking it up. But I absolutely want to play this, and I can't wait. And I don't have a PSVR, so I'm not going to buy one and have everything set up. All the extra wires that you have to have. But Thumper looks fantastic. I can't wait to play it. Lloyd wants to hit a button.
We got a super chat. I said I would do it for this show. We'll get it, and I have to hit it a second time to turn the lamp off. There you go.
We did get a super chat, and we might as well use that super chat as an opportunity to jump into what we call crowd play, which is where we answer your YouTube questions, we answer your super chats, and why don't you tell everybody what did John Essemenger, I butchered his name. Why don't you tell us that super chat, Lloyd?
So John asks, could you guys try to get superhero John Justice back for a post-launch interview? And that is great. We would love that. You guys need to message Google Stadia and let them know that you want that. We can always send a message to the PR person, but whether that makes its way up the chain, who knows? But if you guys want another interview, we would love to do it, but you need to let Google know that is something that you guys want.
Yes, and I'm not going to send anybody anything until after the holidays. But once the holidays are over, I am going to send an email to our PR contact there, and I'll say, hey, people have been asking for us to talk to John. But as Lloyd says, it would mean a lot more if you guys ask them directly. Hey, we want to have you guys. We want you to parade all of your Googlers over on Stadiacast and have them all talk to Bill and Lloyd. We would love to talk to John. I would love to talk to Jade Raymond. I would love to talk to a lot of people over at Stadia. So that's definitely something that would help us if you guys if you guys help us out with that. And Charles is saying, I would love to have a Grace interview. I believe that we talked to Grace, and she said that she just does not have time. I believe that she is not the face of Stadia, so that's why. Like, I think that they've decided that certain people are going to be the people who go out and do interviews, and I don't think it's going to be their community manager, even though Grace does a great job. That being said, if I'm wrong and Grace wants to come on, we would love to talk to her.
Exactly. Yeah. And doing more interviews with people at Google would be just a fantastic way for them to get the word out to the super fans, the people that listen to a weekly podcast about their new service in a way that putting out a press release just really can't get that news out. So yeah, we would jump at the chance, and we would love to interview anybody from Google Stadia and talk about the service and how it's going for them over there in Google land.
All right. Thank you very much, John, for the super chat. We really appreciate the support. I got a YouTube comment that came here from That One Mexican. They said, so Stadia lost 10,000 players on their platform. What do you guys think will happen to Stadia? I don't know where they're getting their information from.
I think that's
go ahead.
Referencing that. I think it's referencing that Destiny thing where they're talking about the player base, which is, I mean, sure, those numbers could be accurate based on matchmaking, but they really don't tell the whole story. Stadia is so new, and we got a batch of amazing games that people have been waiting for. So yeah, less people are playing Destiny because they're playing Borderlands, and they're playing Ghost Recon, and they're playing Red Dead. They're not necessarily jumping into the old faithful Destiny 2. So yeah, I think it's a little bit hard to look at the change between a week and really pull any sort of meaningful data from that.
A lot of people are looking at that and assuming that 10,000 people stopped playing Stadia. 10,000 people stopped playing Destiny on Stadia. Right. They're playing other things, and I think that a lot of people are still playing plenty of Stadia. And I got to be honest, as far as Destiny 2 goes, every time I go in and I play, I don't know what it's like on the other platforms because I haven't played it on the other platforms, but whenever I feel like playing, I really don't have a problem finding people to play with. That being said, I don't play Crucible very often, and I know that that's the one where I think people spend the most time waiting. Right. So that's something that you might want to keep in mind. I do think that Destiny and Borderlands and everything really, like Stadia has specific, or John Justice specifically said, we want crossplay on everything, but it's not up to us. It's up to the developers to do the work that takes. And that's going to take time. I think that once crossplay is enabled for more games, it's going to be a better experience all around. But at the same time, I've been having a blast playing everything that I've been playing, both multiplayer and single player.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Crossplay will make just a world.
Oh, we lost him again. He'll be back in just a second. He was about to say what he's going to say right now. Go ahead, Lloyd.
That's really one of the things that Google said that they were planning on doing was ensuring that everything is ripe for people to do crossplay. They're not putting any blocks in. They're not being what Sony was doing for the longest time. So yeah, that'll come with time, I'm sure, and that will definitely make everything that much better. In just from a user, the amount of people playing in a game at any given time, like Fortnite has been amazing for that. They launch on a new platform, say the Switch or whatever, and immediately you're able to find players because of crossplay. Stuff like that for Destiny would be amazing, but Bungie's never done that, so I think it might be a little bit too much to ask for that. But games coming down the road, new games and whatnot, I think we'll have crossplay almost by default starting in 2020. I just think that is something that people are expecting these days,
especially now that Sony has gotten out of the way, because a big roadblock to that for a long time, and I spent a lot of time talking about this over the last couple of years, was Sony was saying, nope, you're not going to play with other people. You can't play with people on PlayStation, and PlayStation people can't play with anybody else because PlayStation is the best place to play. And it was really about them wanting to try and force people into buying a PlayStation in order to play with their friends. And this always drove me bananas. And I complained about it for 2 years. And then finally, Sony said, well, okay, I guess, they finally realized that they was making a lot of people not want to do business with them anymore, myself included. Like, I specifically said that when the new consoles get announced, the PS5, the Xbox, what the hell is it called? Series X, the Xbox Series X. When those get announced, the number one question that everybody has to ask is, are you going to allow crossplay? And any console that does not allow crossplay, I'm not buying. So I think that we're okay with those now, but it's going to take time before that becomes a reality and widespread. We also got a message from Tim Maggie. They said, if we stop Pro and then resub as Pro at a later date, do we get our Pro games back? And I figured we've probably answered this a bunch of times on the show, but it being right after Christmas, there might be some people who got Stadia for Christmas. Maybe they were asking for it for Christmas. I doubt that there's a lot of people who got it for Christmas that weren't asking for it, because most people probably don't know what it is. But I'm guessing that there's probably a lot of new people who are wondering these kind of questions. So I figured I might as well answer this for Tim and for anybody else out there. The answer is yes. The way that it works, you want to tell them how it works, Lloyd?
Yeah, so if you let your Pro subscription lapse at any time, the games will show up they'll show up as locked. You don't have access to them at that point. As soon as you resub, they become playable again. So it's similar to, if you're familiar with the way PlayStation Plus or Xbox, which I can't remember which Xbox version does that. One of theirs does that, where the games are not playable until you resub. So that's what they said is going to happen with Stadia Pro. So if you claim any games right now, they will be playable in the future if you sub for 1 month or for a year or whatever you do. So that's an easy answer. But as Bill said, we potentially have a lot of we have a lot of new listeners potentially with Christmas gifts and people that are giving their buddy passes away. So it's good to cover some of these basics again that people might not know.
We just had a super chat. You have a job to do, Lloyd. That's so awesome. I gotta say, I'm jealous of that a little bit, but I don't think it would fit on my shelves. It just looks so huge. I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's so close, but it looks really, really big.
It's not quite the size of my head, but yeah, it's like 9 inches by 9 inches, or 7 inches by 7 inches, I guess, something like that. So yeah, it is not a tiny little thing, but it's awesome.
So speaking of buddy passes, I'm going to actually tweet out a buddy pass right now, and the missing number is a number. Let me type that. So I'm going to tweet it out right now. Follow me at Run Jump Stomp. You can follow Lloyd at DASME. Lloyd, do you have a buddy pass to give away right now?
I could find one really quick and
there you go.
Tweet that out. I'll probably tweet it out after the show.
All right, so make sure that you're following Lloyd. Make sure that you're following me. We've been tweeting out buddy passes for Google Stadia. And as soon as we finish recording, I'm going to click on the tweet button, and it will show up. So hopefully that will help. Hopefully somebody will grab that and be able to start playing Stadia with us, maybe. By the way, if you have not already added me as a friend, I have 2 accounts. So one of them is named Bill, which I'm kind of going to let that one die off into the dust because I know that family sharing is coming down the pipe at some point, and I claimed it on the wrong email address, and I'm not going to get into it. I already talked about it on the show before, but I've got a second account, and it doesn't have as many friends as my first account. So Run Jump Stomp, that is my name on Stadia. Go find me and add me, and we can hang out and play games together. Speaking of finding me and adding me, follow the show at Stadiacast on Twitter. You can follow me at Run Jump Stomp on Twitter, and you can follow Lloyd at Dasme on Twitter. And you can join our Discord over at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. And while you're joining Discord, you can join Lloyd's Discord as well over at rezd.tv/Discord. That's rezd.tv/Discord. Lloyd, any words of wisdom before we get out of here?
We got one interesting comment that we didn't cover when it was happening on the show. It's from PK Priority, and the comment was live play interview. Play a Destiny raid with John, Lloyd, Jade, and Bill while they answer interview questions. And that would be fantastic. But I think we would ask one question, and then we get in the middle of a firefight, and we probably wouldn't even get the answer.
That's probably true. I would rather, instead of doing a raid, because I'm unfamiliar with that, I would rather do a gambit where we're trying to fight against some other players. I think that would be really, really good. Ghosty Boy says you should add your Stadium name with your Twitter down there. Down where? It's Run Jump Stomp. It's Run Jump Stomp everywhere. So you can find me there, and you can find Lloyd at Dasme everywhere. Anyway, the music that you're about to hear is Subterranean Kamikaze by Zircon. You can check out their stuff at zirconstudios.bandcamp.com. I'm Bill. That's Lloyd. Thanks, Lloyd.
Have a good one, Bill, and take it easy, everybody.
There we go. We did it.
Awesome. We made another episode.
That's right. There's an MP3 with our names on it.
Nice. I'm typing in my thing right now. I'm going to be tweeting it out right away.
And I just tweeted mine out too. I'm just putting on music for the background. When I focus the camera on one of us. Well, when I focus on Lloyd, it says Dasme, and that's his name on Stadia as well. And when I focus it on me, it says Run Jump Stomp. So I think people can figure it out. I don't need to write Run Jump Stomp on there 3 times. And it's on the sign right above my head. Right there. Brett says, does Stadia use the same amount of data per hour with every game, or do some games use more or less than others? Well, I suppose that if you're playing a game that's more static, it would probably use less data. If you play a game that is... I don't know, because it's still sending you 60 frames per second. No matter what you're playing, you are getting a stream that is 60 frames per second, even if the game is 30 frames per second. So...
yeah,
I think it's probably the same amount of data no matter what.
You would have less data because the way that the stream works is it only sends you updates. It'll send you like a full refresh every number of frames or whatever, but it only sends you updates from one frame to the next.
Right, those are called keyframes, right?
Yeah, so keyframes will be from one to the next, and then they'll send you out the block updates for all the parts of the screen that are changing. So if you're in like a strategy sim game where the screen is mostly static and only a little bit of stuff is moving, you'll use very little data compared to like a fast moving first person shooter where you're moving the camera and the screen is moving and things are moving. That'll use potentially a lot more data in comparison.
Gotcha.
All right, I tweeted out my buddy pass, and I've already gotten a couple retweets. So, yeah, good luck to everybody. Hopefully you guys manage to find it if you need it.
And let me retweet that. Retweet. It
was funny because
go ahead.
This code almost looks fake because it starts with FCYK, and I'm like, and then 69 right after it. I'm like, that's almost like a fake code. I could have done so many things to make people guess the missing parts, but I didn't. I just took out a number.
Yeah, I always take out a number. There's been once where I was like, I'll just change 2 of these to number signs. That way people, and I was like, oh God, no, that would make it like almost impossible for people to figure out. But yeah, you can't do like, you could do a letter if you want.
Yeah.
You could replace that Y and somebody might think it's some other letter.
If it was FYCK, I could have done that, and that would have gotten people really confused.
Have you ever seen there's a hilarious SNL skit with Will Ferrell where they're like wearing letters of the like they're wearing sweaters with the letters F, K, C, and U on them, and they're trying to like do like a cheer or something, and they every time that they almost get to spelling that word, like the host of the show runs in and stops them, and it's very. Have you seen that, Lloyd?
I have not. I need to go find that on YouTube, I think.
It is very funny. I want to thank John and Jason, by the way, for supporting with their super chats. It really does help. And I want to thank the people who super chatted yesterday. Oh, there we go. That super chatted yesterday during my live stream. I appreciate that.
Definitely. I'm looking here. No one's replied that
people never reply and say, "Oh, I got it." Well, okay. I've given out probably 15 buddy passes. I think maybe twice somebody said, "I got it, thanks." They just get it and run.
Yeah, I guess they're too busy playing to say thanks.
It's not a big deal. Brett says that he doubled his data cap this month.
Wow.
I personally wouldn't use Stadia if I had a data cap. I just wouldn't.
Yeah, that would be bad. That would be really bad. But yeah, double. That's crazy. Like I'm thinking like I guess my usage has gone up a little bit, but not much. And I think what my usage has gone up so much because my kids are watching Disney Plus all the time. I think that's where most of my data is going these days, is they're watching stuff on Netflix and Disney Plus because they're home for the holiday break.
That's true. That's definitely true. Well, we obviously won't talk about it here, but I watched the Mandalorian final episode yesterday, and I was like,
so good.
"Oh man, that's awesome!" Like I was like, "Yeah!" Very excited.
9 months to get more Mando.
I know.
Sucks. It really sucks.
Well, and then this morning I went to the gym and I watched the season finale for All Mankind while I was on the treadmill, and I was a little worried about being on time for the show today because I got up a little later than I had planned on, and then I'm on the treadmill. I just set it at the highest incline, 3.5 miles per hour, and I just walk uphill until the end of the episode. That's my workout, and it was 75 minutes long, and I was like, oh my god, that's a very long episode.
I broke my shins.
Yeah, but it was worth it. It was great. That show, For All Mankind, and the morning show on Apple TV Plus is superb. And if you have not, I've locked up. My camera has done a thing. I think it's my way or the internet's way of saying that, Bill, you're done. You're all done, and you don't get to do anymore.
Your camera needs to go walk on a treadmill. Yeah,
I guess so. Anyway, I think it's time for us to go.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for coming out, everybody, hanging out with us for some Stadia talk here on a Sunday. We do appreciate you coming out and spending your time with us, and the support that you've been showing us, both super chats, but with the retweets, with all the Discord stuff. It's been a fantastic 38 weeks of talking Stadia with all you fine people.
And we will see you next week on Sunday. Although, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, because we post stuff all week long. Bye, everyone.
Take it easy.